Thank you everyone for joining this event. And there are so many of you. We did not really even expect so many representatives from municipalities and also environmental organizations. But we are very happy that you are here with us for the next hour and a half to discuss a very relevant topic relating to environment and also climate change in 3 different countries that are quite close to each other, namely Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. We will have this event in the following manner. In the beginning, there will be a short opening speech. Then 6 municipalities, 2 from each country, will explain their best practices in engaging citizens relating to environmental matters. And then we will proceed in informing you about the results of an interesting civic engagement project that was organized by the same organizations that are in charge of this very event. And that's public policy think tank Providus from Latvia, Lithuanian Startup Politics, and also Polish Institute of Public Affairs. And this whole event is being funded by Council of the Baltic Sea State Secretariat, just as well as the project. And right now I'll give the floor to Uģis, who will give a short opening remarks relating to today's topics. And then we will proceed straight to best practices from 6 different municipalities. So Uģis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Iveta, very much for this opportunity to join the seminar and to briefly introduce the Council of the Baltic Sea States, who is very proud and honored to contribute to this project with our financial source, as our project support facility every year announce the calls for small seed, sort of seed money projects where we support various non-governmental organizations and also regional authorities. Could you please mute the microphone? And as the last year, also this project get a support. And this year, our call was dedicated more one of our long-term priorities, safe and secure region. I will briefly give you an introduction. What is our Council of the Baltic Sea States is all about? Okay, do you, John?
We can see your presentation quite well, Uģis.
Okay. The Council, just a brief introduction. The Council of the Baltic Sea States is an organization who unites countries around the Baltic Sea, and plus Norway and Iceland, who is probably, if not on the shores of the Baltic Sea, but at the same time, the links and connections with the Baltic Sea region is very relevant and close. The organization has been established in 1992, and there have been recently very drastic changes since 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. The Council of the Baltic Sea States suspended Russia's participation in the Council activities, and then later, 1 month later, Russia withdrew from the Council of the Baltic Sea States. Therefore, currently we are 10 countries which are member states of the Council. At the same time, we have additional organization. The European Union is also the member of Council, which is represented by External Action Service. The Council of the Baltic States is run by guided by 3 long-term priorities. Regional identity, which focuses on cooperation in culture, youth and education matters. The Sustainable and Prosperous region is concentrating on implementation of the Agenda 2030 in the Baltic Sea region, and also environmental topics like climate change and cooperation in the field of science, labor, and maritime economy. And Safe and Secure region is mainly focusing on cooperation in civil protection matters, also fight against human trafficking and protection of the children rights. These are kind of main three priorities which are guiding the work of the Council in the long term. But at the same time, every year we have rotating presidencies of the countries, like current presidency of the Council is Germany, where they also have their own presidency priorities, which are in line with these long-term priorities I have been mentioned, but at the same time giving certain focuses on aspects related to main problematic issues of the Baltic Sea region. Certainly, current one of the focus is to be safe and secure region, which also has been reflected in Wismar Declaration, which has been recently adopted during the Council meeting. I will share the link to the documents in the chat. And at the same time, the focus being more on sustainability and environment issues, which you touch upon also during the seminar, like alternative energy source, like more specifically on promoting offshore wind power, where besides alternative energy source and also some environmental considerations should be taken into account. Also, the German presidency initiated discussions on resolving the problems and addressing the issues about damp munition in the Baltic Sea, which is very big and great kind of environmental challenge, considering the vulnerability status of the Baltic Sea. These are kind of also been kind of guiding sea thematics in the last year during the German presidencies, and various events were organized where experts being engaged and discussed those topical issues. The next presidency, starting from the 1st of July, it will be Finland. And their priorities will be approved as soon as the presidency will take chair. And I would like to also highlight some of projects that we've been doing and been in the context of current today's seminar, which you may also consider and have a look when discussing the topics and defining the ways forward. One of our priorities was being all times been localizing Agenda 2030 in Baltic Sea regions, where we have produced various reports on state of play of implementation of sustainable development goals in the Baltic Sea region. Like, have a look on Bumps on the Road report, which is available on our website. But more recent one and related to today's topic is also the project we've been implementing with assistance from the Swedish Institute is been called Klimalot project, which looked on how to help local and municipal authorities to address the climate adaptation issues in their development plan, and how to use by step-by-step approach to introduce all unnecessary engagements and engage also civil society when designing and addressing the challenges and designing the steps to be taken and actions to be taken at municipality and regional level. Please have a look on this handbook, which is available on our website. If you already managed to photo the QR code, you will have a direct link
if you
there.
could move the slide to the next one. We are still on the first one.
Ah, okay, sorry.
You can press on it. Probably it will work. Yes, now we see it.
Now you see. Okay, and this handbook for localizing climate change has been a result of the cooperation project with the help of Swedish Institute, which identifies those 10 steps you can see. But local authorities should consider with regard to adaptation to the climate change when designing their local development plans. And now we are looking also to the next step for designing the project on actually testing this handbook on the municipality at the level. That could be a kind of brief update what is the Council of the Baltic Sea States, how we are working as regards implementation of the Agenda 2030, and how we are addressing more sectorial topics in our work, and how we try to engage with the local and municipal authorities when designing plans for adaptation to the climate change. Thank you.
Eva, they're still on mute.
Well, we can hear you.
Sorry. Thank you, Uģis Anders from the Council of the Baltic Sea States about this presentation. But now we are proceeding straight to the presentations of best case practices from different municipalities relating to environment, and especially relating to civic engagement in environmental and climate change issues. And we'll start with Lithuania because of time constraints of some of our colleagues. Then we will go to Latvia, and then we will end up in Poland with municipalities from Poland. So let's start with you, Justinas Vegžda from Šiauliai municipality, north of Lithuania, who will be speaking on citizen engagement and green policy development and beyond. And I will tell to the audience that each presentation will be around 5 minutes in length. So Justinas, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all the participants, because I can see that there are quite a few of us. So I do know that one of my colleagues from Lithuania will have an explicit presentation on the green movement, or the Green Deal, so to say, and the way we try to pursue the goals of it. But my presentation is more closely related to actual civic engagement, because we, as the city of Šiauliai, have been in close contact with politics for over 3 years now. And actually, we want to show how this particular tool or this particular platform allows to improve the democracy, the local democracy, and actually constitute real life development of the city. Because we have had some record-breaking polls in the city of Šiauliai, and we had a really successful engagement of local citizenry. So what I would like to say is, can you see the next slide? Is it all good?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So we have a really strong ambition to become the capital of democracy of Lithuania, and we have been doing so by employing various different initiatives, various different platforms, and we are glad to say that also with the help of politics and initiatives of this type, we have managed to become the 4th most transparent municipality in Lithuania. We are today regarded as the most successful city of all of the cities in Lithuania that have participatory budgeting, and also we are the only city that has coordination center ensuring the regular communication with the citizens. And politics emerged as one of the possible tools to be employed, especially during the COVID pandemic. It was really applicable initiative, so to say, in the case of crisis. And actually, we are glad to say that in 2020 and 2021, we broke 2 records of the participation rate in the city of Šiauliai, and actually those 2 polls constituted real life changes. And so this is just a photo of some of the initiatives that we employ in the city of Šiauliai. This is participatory budgeting, but it also closely relates to civic engagement and also the Green Deal of or the green goals of the city. But talking about the politics and the tool that was employed in the context of the city of Šiauliai, we actually have to say that we complied without even knowing that to two of the CBSS goals, to making sure that the region is secure and to making sure that its identity is maintained and identified. So the first thing was also before this project began, and also of course it continued with the project with 4 more poles, but it was the winter of 2020, and we employed this specific tool in order to ask the citizens how do they think we are doing as a municipality when it comes to making sure that the streets are clean during the winter. And I know that all of the Latvians and all of the Poles can relate probably to this question and the importance of this question. And actually, employment of politics as an initiative, as a platform for dialogue between the local administration and the local citizenry was very successful, because we actually got over 1,800 votes, and actually most of the citizens indicated that the vehicles that are cleaning the streets are in very poor technical condition, and some of them don't even have the blades lifted. So that means that they are just passing by the streets without even cleaning them, and that has a lot of implications for the environment. That has a lot of implications for the general feeling of satisfaction of citizens. And actually, we made a policy, a local municipal policy, which allowed us to monitor the companies that provide us the winter service vehicles. And this change is still in place, and that was a direct result of civic engagement throughout the platform that we are here to discuss today. And actually, we also tried to engage the public through the politics on a national level, which was also relatively impressive, because one of the politics polls was translated into an actual document signed by all of the mayors of Lithuania. That means 60 mayors of Lithuania signed an official document directly directed to the Parliament of Lithuania, on the basis, on the recommendatory basis from the results of the politics poll. So I don't know, I'm probably right on time, right? Like 5 minutes presentation. And I just wanted to make sure that, and actually we are still working with politics and we have done so during this project. Of course, the results will be more evident in the future, but I can tell you that every single poll that we have had with this platform has resulted in a specific policy and in, I would say, a more satisfactory participation rate among the citizens, and more trust among the citizens in the public administration of the municipality.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Justinas. Would it be correct to say that in case of your city, that basically what you are doing, and that's quite special compared to many other cities, both in Lithuania and also the rest of Europe, is that basically on all the major issues, including environmental issues, you are organizing quite extensive civic engagement, including those large-scale polls. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, but I think it is case with at least some of the municipalities in Lithuania, because we also make the strategic plans of the cities and the regions through the consultations, public consultations with the local citizenry. But we do take it very, very seriously, because the local citizenry, most of the times, they do know something that doesn't pop up in the minds of the decision makers instantly, you know. So maybe I think of, let's say, the carbon emissions of the city, and then there are people that point to the lack of green areas in the city, and then, you know, like, you have to take it all into consideration, because we do not have a monopoly of right decisions, and that is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much, Justinas. I know that you have to leave in 5 minutes, so in case somebody else has a question, please write very swiftly in chat, and maybe in 1 minute or 2 minutes time, Justinas will be able to give an answer. So thank you so much. Now we are going to another municipality based in Lithuania. The largest one, Vilnius municipality, is the capital of Lithuania, and Agne Egminiene is going to speak about Vilnius greening policy, its formation and implementation, and the role of citizen engagement in Vilnius greening policy. So Agne, you can go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see me and see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Great. So thank you for this invitation. Thank you for inviting Vilnius to this big project. And I will switch from introduction to our next slide. So yes, I'm representing Vilnius City, Lithuania, but truly saying I work in another institution. So very shortly about it. It's a public institution, Climate Neutral Vilnius. It was established by Vilnius City Council according to European Union mission 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030, where Vilnius was selected. So it is announced that this mission is the largest European Commission program of Horizon 2020. And of course, our main focus, I mean about climate neutral Vilnius, is to lead Vilnius to climate neutral journey. And we can't reach our targets without our stakeholders, including citizens. So I was asked to tell about challenges what we face. So what can I say? That information about climate changes, about climate change and mitigation methods, they do not reach citizens. And what, for example, citizens say that climate change, it do not affect me, or I do not feel guilty about what's going around. So for example, we as citizens, we use a lot of car, but we perfectly know that it's the most polluting thing. So we need to engage citizens, of course. And one more thing, that dissemination of ability of technology, I mean, innovation and knowledge as a human resources is also very important, and we need to adapt it to city. For example, if we talk about Vilnius and including Lithuania, so we have quite low rates of winning, I mean, especially in Horizon project. And we need also multidisciplinary experts. What I mean, we need to see the bigger picture if we talk about climate neutrality and we talk about climate change, how to integrate our approaches on climate change. But you also asked us to tell what is our success and how we're doing. So what we see where we are good at, and what helped us to communicate with the citizens is a post on social media, and especially using local pictures. It's most successful thing. And one more thing is include as much as possible, including, for example, if we work from municipality side, so we need to involve all municipality administration, to involve colleagues from city administration, and we do it in different ways. For example, via internal media in municipality, or just a simple, we print a story, or we print information and put it in the building at the elevator. So now I will give two different examples. One is quite successful, another not so, just to show how we are going and how we're dealing with. So for example, the first is Green Wave. We call it Green Wave. What it says means that our mayor in 2021, he announced also big, let's say, Vilnius mission to plant 1 million bushes, trees along the streets. So citizens were perfectly involved, children, adults, they planted the trees. And of course, we're trying to make it in digital way, to make it the digitalization. So we want that every kilometer of Vilnius street could be green. So this is one of the good examples. Another one where we need lessons to what our lessons. So for example, last year we have areas which are not so used for walking or for leisure, and they were like transformed into flowering meadows and mowed twice a year. But it was made of natural-based solutions for climate change mitigation, for heat island effects, and so on. But this solution, it wasn't acceptable for citizens because we have different view of the city, the landscape changed, and of course of the ticks. people are afraid of them. So what we saw about that we suggest that this nature-based solution failed because of poor communication. So what happened and what we need more, so we need to inform citizens and to involve them to the planning process. For example, to listen to their opinion, what they think about medieval, so how often they should be moved. So just this last slide about our lessons learned. What can I say? That yes, that we need to focus on the citizens' lifestyle. We should do it more. And the second is that we need more posts on social media. It's quite successful, and we also should understand that sometimes, yes, we get negative reaction. And I, as mentioned before, one more lesson that if a project team is municipality, yes, okay, but it's more. Citizens, other stakeholders, academia, I don't know, businesses, they're also part of our city's project, so we must involve them more. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, so feel free to write me, and if you have any questions now, so I can answer them. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so thank you so much, Agne. If there are some questions, please write them in chat. If you are unable to write in English or Lithuanian, then write in Polish and Latvian. Somebody is going to help us translating that. But Agne, I have a privilege of having this moderator status. And I would like to ask you about one of your lessons learned, namely about social media, that one should post on social media more because it's quite impactful. In what sense? More people are reading, or more are engaging, or how do you see it as a benefit?
Okay, it's quite really good question. What we mentioned that more young people use social media. It's another question how to involve elderly, but let's leave it. So for them it's easier to read. They react and they can spread the message if they are interested. So if we write message in the good way, it spreads, you know, from one to each other, and we can inform more people.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think right now we have heard both participants from Lithuania with their impressive stories about how Vilnius and Šiauliai are engaging citizens in environmental issues, and what the general strategy of both of those cities relating to environment and citizen engagement is. And right now, let's move more north to Latvia. And let's start with municipality that is not as big as Šiauliai or Vilnius, but nevertheless quite very important in Latvia. It's not that far from the capital. It's Mārupe municipality. And Gundars Zadovskis, I can see you already on the screen. Hello, Gundars. He is going to present Mārupe Novads municipality experience relating to green issues. So Gundars, go ahead.
Yes, I am trying to share the presentation, but it says that I'm not allowed to do it. So I guess there needs to be something done about it.
Okay, Rafael,
oh,
can
now,
we do...
now I can. Now I can. Okay.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Now I can. Okay. I hope that everyone can see the slides.
Yes. Now we can.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you for asking to be a part of this. My name is Gundars, and I am a representative of municipality of Mārupe. And as Iveta already said, that this municipality is very close in terms of the center of the whole country Latvia. It is located right next to the Riga, and actually one of the biggest challenges which this municipality is experiencing is the rapid growth of population, and this is something that goes hand in hand with the environmental challenges and many other things that I will try to tell in these 5 minutes. So we have searched for many years the best tool to gather information about our people, to do some kind of polls or surveys, and always there has been some pros and cons to each of these systems. But now, for the last 2 years, we have used this GIS, which is a geographical information system. Of course, at the first you think what is the connection between environment surveys and geographical information systems, but actually it's quite big. So you can see that this GIS consists of many spheres: the database, a map, and applications, analysis, and of course in the bottom you see this logo which says survey and polls. And actually, in the last year, we have been experiencing a rapid usage of GIS in surveys, which is which gather information about environmental challenges in the municipality, about how can we deal with these European how to say regulations and so on, so we can become more greener than yesterday. And and this next slide shows that this GIS also helps to for our municipalities to decide whether to accept this or not. In many cases, it's environment or spatial planning or any other kind of spheres. This is just a brief picture which shows what GIS is meant to do with the data that we gather from my colleagues in the municipality or from the people in the municipality, and this helps to represent data in a more efficient and how to say eye-catching way. And there are many things that you can do with the GIS, but I will go further to show the most important, how you can use this tool to gather information from the people. So in the last year, a very interesting poll or survey was done, which actually helped to understand where people want to have a dog walking spaces, or how to say rooms, or I don't know the exact name actually in English, which showcases that. But actually, where do people think that there should be an infrastructure for the dogs and other animals to be how to say let wild? And so people had this chance to show it in the map, and so this information helped us, for the workers in the municipality, to understand, is it possible to do it there? What are the challenges are there any green spaces already overloaded with these all kind of things, or are there lakes near, or are there other very important green and blue systems around there? So this was a tool. And another one was when we every municipality in Latvia has to construct a very, how to say, a very difficult document which showcases how the municipality will develop in the future. And one of the activities in this the document was a survey which asked people to show where they want to see a new roads, where they want to see connections between smaller villages and so on. And this is a matter of environment as well, because in this case, we as the workers in municipality have to take this in account to understand if it is possible there. And actually, I can say that the popularity of these surveys have been only growing. There have been already for the last survey, there were about 1,000 people which participated in this survey, and it's a big step because, as we all know, that in this globalized world, it's very hard to find a time to get these surveys done for the people, because we are so how to say mesmerized by all the information which is around us. So this is the last slide, and thank you for the attention. I hope it was useful to see our approach in this.
Oh, thank you so much, Gundars. It was definitely very useful and interesting. And my question to you would be, based on this common perception that state-created systems are very hard to use, obscure, and probably a person who is being told that you need to participate in some survey that takes place in some electronic system somewhere on some governmental website is not going to have a very easy path forward there. How did you make these kinds of surveys accessible so that really people fill in their responses there? Did you embed them on your website or somehow else?
Yes, it is actually through social media and web as the official website of the municipality. But of course, I guess the main thing is that we try to make these surveys more interactive, more interesting for the people. And actually what we have seen, a map, visual data, a visual representation helps for the people to get involved more, because it's something more interesting than just a piece of paper on the Google Forms, which only showcases things that you want to tick or you want to answer. So a map is something that you can play with. You can just search for this your home street. You can search for the home village, and you can find the places, and it is something that engages the people more.
Oh, that's definitely fascinating, and these kinds of maps, as you mentioned, can be also used for environmental issues. So thank you for presenting your experience. So that was Mārupe, one municipality quite close to the capital, but right now we are proceeding to another Latvian municipality that is quite distant from the capital. It's a really well-developing city. Recently, it also got the recognition of one of the best governed cities in Latvia. It's a coastal town called Liepāja, and then Diana Stanzinieks is going to present Liepāja's vision about environment, and maybe also tell briefly about how you are planning to engage citizens. So Diana, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, Liepāja, shortly about our location on the map. So we are located on the southwestern coast of the Baltic Sea. And we are third largest city in Latvia and 10th largest in the Baltic states. And the population is about 70,000. And actually, the city is sandwiched between the Baltic Sea and the Lake Liepāja, and together those water bodies are connected with a trade canal. And the Liepāja has historically been an industrial city as well as closed military territory. However, over the years, the city's residential, recreational, and business environment has seen ongoing improvements put in place. And now we can say that Liepāja has become a modern city with a global outlook, but at the same time retaining the comforts typical of a small town. Actually, yes, there's still much things to do regarding the civic engagement, but I think that if we put more efforts on educating our citizens, educating also about environment and climate, then this response from citizens gets higher. And yes, I think education is the basics. The blue flag actually for us is one of the most common tools how to engage citizens and educate them about environment and the sea. The sea is important for us, of course. And the close proximity to the sea makes it very popular for tourists and residents as well. And for 2 decades, we are having this eco certificate, the blue flag, and it means that our 2 beach sites are corresponding to 33 strict criteria for water quality, environment quality, safety measures, different service provision, and also environmental education. And the central beach is also suitable for people with vision impairment or physical disability. There are special audio buoys have been set on water to ensure safe swimming for visually impaired people. And there are special wheelchairs designed also for swimming for people with certain movement disabilities. Another territory, as I mentioned, is lake.
Diana, sorry, if you are moving through slides, we are still on the first one.
Oh.
Okay, if you can press on them so that we...
Yeah, because I'm already on 3rd. Oh, my.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's like some presentation.
Do you see the second slide?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should have saved it as PDF because I'm on PowerPoint.
Yes,
yes,
maybe
I'll try once again.
No worries, we are safe on time currently.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Yes, one moment.
And for the rest of participants, if you are able to add to your Zoom names the city where you are coming from, I think it would be very interesting for the rest of participants. So you can do that by clicking on your name and pushing this right, I think it's the right button. Or... Okay, no, okay, I'm unable to rename anyone because I'm not a host, but if you can write in brackets or somehow your city, I think it would be great. So just to see the geographical spread of everyone who is here. Okay, now we are seeing your slide number 1,
yes,
the picture of Liepāja.
It's picture of Liepāja, and yes,
now we're seeing
this
where
is the location.
Exactly, great.
Yes, this was short outlook on our facts. And here is the Blue Flag Beach. And now we are moving to the lake, which is also an important habitat, important territory of recreation. What is interesting, it was a former dump site during the Soviet times. And there was quite a lot of projects to recultivate this area and to make it accessible to citizens. And now it's a very popular recreational area. And it's a big island on the lake of Liepāja, and it's a Natura 1000 territory for nesting and migratory birds. And also on this island, there is also a nature education center where different educational activities are carried out also for families and for pupils and also for grown-ups. So everyone can come and to explore more about nature. We are also striving to reach climate neutrality for 2030, and we are one of those 100 European cities in the initiative Climate Neutral and Smart Cities. Our actions will be focused on development of a smart and data-driven management, on improved mobility, and also on energy efficiency. And definitely there will be a lot of things to do to include citizens, as their role will be very important to reach this goal. One of our very successful solutions to improve faster communication with residents and to actually include them more to the management of the city is this mobile application called Liepāja City. And it's a very good opportunity for residents to more conveniently convey information about necessary improvements in the urban environment. And initially, 4 functions are available in this application: to inform about the necessary improvements in the urban environment, to plan a trip in the city's public transport, and to familiarize with the upcoming public events and receive most important notifications from the municipality. It's actually a very easy tool. As you know, our society, our Latvian society is sometimes like to point out some critique and some negative remarks, and actually this application is actually good for this information as well. And I think every day we receive several applications from citizens, and actually it helps us also to quickly react on those issues. Yes, there was also municipal co-financing for the improvement of courtyards in micro-district available in order to beautify the courtyards of micro-districts or land attached to multi-apartment buildings. Residents can plan to reconstruct pedestrian or driving roads, or create children's playgrounds or sports fields, or install bike racks, or carry out landscaping, or build lighting, create car parking space, or install benches, waste container storage, or clothes drying racks. And they apply for this support from the municipality. It's a grant. It's about 15,000 euros. And yeah, we are carrying out this also for several years, and this is very, very good opportunity also for citizens to engage. I think that was quickly all from Liepāja.
Okay, thank you so much, Diana. I wanted to ask you about your question about that application. So basically, if you would like to know something from citizens relating to their opinions, your first choice would be to go and use that application, or it would depend on some other considerations. So is this application as popular so that you can rely on it to ask citizens certain questions, for example, relating to environment?
We have not used it as a tool to ask questions to the citizens. It's mostly a tool for citizens to inform us as quickly as possible. It's like they are holding the hand on the pulse of what is going on the city. For example, if they are seeing that there's some light bulb broken or a bench is broken, then they quickly write us this information, and then we quickly react. Mm-hmm. So there's nobody between, I don't know, the decision-making process is just faster.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's how citizens can reach municipalities faster than they would otherwise be able to do. Well, it sounds quite impressive. So thank you so much, Diana. If somebody has questions about Liepāja experience, please again write them in chat. Okay, now we are moving south to a much bigger country than Latvia and Lithuania, namely to Poland. And Silvija Wittmann from Bierun Municipality is going to tell us about Bierun's experience on green participatory budgeting. Several representatives from municipalities already mentioned participatory budgeting, but this sounds very interesting in a sense that it's about probably green projects, but maybe I have mistaken it. So Silvija, if I've made a mistake in presenting you, please correct me during your presentation.
Dzień dobry. Mam nadzieję, że mnie słychać. Słyszycie mnie Państwo?
We can hear you, yes.
Okej. Chciałabym opowiedzieć o naszym narzędziu stosunkowo młodym, jakim jest Zielony Budżet Obywatelski, bo o ile...
Excuse me, Sylvia,
okay.
maybe Philip is going to translate what you are saying in English, because we don't really have translation from Polish to Latvian and Lithuanian, so we can understand what you are saying. So
the translation is available in translation under English.
Ah, okay. But will the translators to Latvian also? Okay, so I will briefly, I'm just a remark to translator to Latvian. I will summarize what you have said for in English afterwards, so that the Latvian translator can translate the main idea. So please proceed, Sylvia. Sorry for interrupting you.
Czy teraz tłumaczenie jest dostępne na litewski i łotewski? Słyszycie mnie Państwo i rozumiecie? Okej. W takim razie budżet obywatelski ogólnie dotyczący wszelkiego rodzaju projektów jest już od wielu lat w naszym mieście w Bieruniu realizowany. Natomiast po raz trzeci dopiero, trzecią edycję zrealizowaliśmy zielonego budżetu partycypacyjnego. Nazywamy go po prostu zielonym budżetem miasta Bierunia. I rzeczywiście, tak jak powiedziałaś, dotyczy on wyłącznie projektów zielonych związanych z roślinnością, z nasadzeniami, z rekultywacją zdegradowanych terenów, z uporządkowywaniem zieleni. I mamy swoje młode, aczkolwiek bardzo dobre doświadczenia związane z realizacją tego zielonego budżetu. Wyjaśnię pokrótce, na czym polega, jak to się odbywa. Otóż mamy narzędzie, może spróbuję udostępnić ekran. Nie wiem, czy Państwo widzicie, zielony budżet miasta Bierunia. To jest nasza platforma internetowa, przez którą nasi mieszkańcy mogą składać swoje wnioski, swoje projekty dotyczące nasadzeń, dotyczące zagospodarowania terenów zielonych, czy też uporządkowania terenów zielonych. Te projekty muszą spełniać następujące warunki. Nie mogą przekroczyć wartości 40 000 złotych. Są różne, zdarzają się projekty na całą tą kwotę 40 000, zdarzają się mniejsze, mogą dotyczyć rozmaitych części miasta. Może to być zielone otoczenie ławki osiedlowej, może być to znacznie większy projekt, jak nasadzenie łąki kwietnej. Pomysł może zgłosić każdy. Natomiast co zielony budżet odróżnia od zwykłego budżetu obywatelskiego, to, że projektów, które będą realizowane przez miasto, nie wybierają w głosowaniu mieszkańcy, ale wybiera je zespół ekspertów. Z tym, że tutaj ten element partycypacji jest również bardzo duży, bo ten zespół ekspertów to są oczywiście urzędnicy zajmujący się zielenią w mieście, zajmujący się ochroną środowiska, ale również radni miejscy oraz przedstawiciele organizacji pozarządowych. I preferujemy tutaj przy naborze tych członków zespołu oceniającego, bo ten nabór jest otwarty, członków takich organizacji, które mają największe doświadczenie, jeśli chodzi o realizację projektów ekologicznych. Mamy więc pszczelarzy, mamy działkowców, właścicieli czy też najemców ogródków działkowych, którzy również się zrzeszają i stowarzyszają. I wytyczna jest taka, że najwyżej są oceniane te projekty, które mają największe walory, jeśli chodzi o efekt ekologiczny. Oczywiście efekt estetyczny również, co często dla mieszkańców jest priorytetowe, ale my również zwracamy uwagę, żeby ten efekt ekologiczny był jak największy. Zielony budżet zrealizowaliśmy w tym roku po raz trzeci, to znaczy z poprzednich 2 edycji udało się zrealizować w sumie 11 zadań. Są one bardzo różnorodne. Jeden, którym chciałam się z Państwem podzielić, to nie wiem, czy jest widoczne. Witaj w Zielonym Mieście. To jest przykład rewitalizacji takiego miejsca, które no, kiedyś kilkanaście lat temu było no, tak zwaną betonozą. To jest punkt mieszczący się na wjeździe do miasta. Jest to nie tylko granica miasta na rzece Wiśle, ale też granica województwa i granica powiatu. I taki witacz, betonowy pylon przy betonowym placyku kiedyś witał wszystkich wjeżdżających przez most na Wiśle do Bierunia i do województwa śląskiego. Ten betonowy pylon został zdemontowany kilka lat temu, czy nawet kilkanaście. Te z miedzianej blachy herby leżały po prostu w jakimś składziku czy w piwnicy. I tutaj ciekawostka jest taka, że zielony budżet zainspirował mieszkańców tej części miasta do tego, żeby te stare, mosiężne tablice, witacze, wykonane zresztą przez artystę rzeźbiarza lokalnego, wyciągnąć z tej piwnicy i wkomponować je nie w betonozę, ale w taki zielony pagórek. Zostało to zrealizowane. Obecnie te miejsce prezentuje się zupełnie inaczej. Jest to taki zielony pagórek otoczony skwerem z nasadzeniami. Z każdej strony jest tam zielono i takiej metamorfozy doznało to miejsce właśnie z inspiracji mieszkańców. Jest to jeden z przykładów, co można zrealizować w ramach zielonego budżetu miasta Bierunia i to bardzo pomysłowo. Oczywiście są też nasadzenia kwitnących roślin cebulowych, są nasadzenia drzew, krzewów, są miejsca takie zdegradowane, które są na powrót przywracane do świetności. Zieleń jest regulowana, nasadzana nowa i bardzo, bardzo dobre efekty tutaj odnosimy. Są oczywiście też łąki kwietne, bo tak jak powiedziałam, mieliśmy tu aktywne stowarzyszenie pszczelarzy, które się włączyło w zespół oceniający i tutaj podkreślanie znaczenia łąk kwietnych i łąk miododajnych dla całego ekosystemu było bardzo duże. Więc no, jesteśmy dobrej myśli na przyszłość, że to się nam będzie rozwijać. Z każdą kolejną edycją mamy więcej pomysłów. Przy pierwszej edycji widzieliśmy, że mieszkańcy się tak dopiero oswajają z tym nowym narzędziem. Było wiele pytań, przychodzili do nas, dzwonili, pytali, jakie to mają być te zielone projekty, czy można coś takiego zrobić, czy można dołożyć ławkę, czy można dołożyć murek. Można oczywiście, można dokładać elementy małej architektury, natomiast warunek jest taki, że ta mała architektura nie może przekroczyć 30% wartości całego projektu. 70% wartości musi to być zieleń. No i tu niejednokrotnie nawet musieliśmy pomagać mieszkańcom w oszacowaniu, jak skomponować ten projekt, żeby można było tam zmieścić i tą ławeczkę, czy stojak na rowery, który chcieli, i odpowiednio wkomponować to w kosztorys, żeby projekt mógł być dopuszczony do tego narzędzia, jakim jest zielony budżet miasta Bierunia. Na podstawie tych doświadczeń nasze narzędzie ewoluowało. Na stronie zielonego budżetu miasta Bierunia wzbogaciliśmy, jest to nie tylko narzędzie do składania i pisania projektów, ale jest też możliwość zainspirowania się, jest możliwość skorzystania z przykładowych kosztorysów. Można zorientować się, co ile kosztuje, jak skomponować ten swój skwerek czy inny zielony projekt. Mamy katalog inspiracji, na którym można zobaczyć, jak wyglądają różne, na przykład jak wygląda łąka kwietna, jak wyglądają rabaty z bylin, rabaty z traw i jest to takie dość wszechstronne narzędzie. Dlatego no, jesteśmy pełni na przyszłość optymizmu, jeśli chodzi o rozwój tego narzędzia i również tutaj konsultacje społeczne wykorzystaliśmy, żeby zebrać opinię mieszkańców, jak im się podoba, czego potrzebują, co można by zmienić, co można by ulepszyć, prawda, żeby ta współpraca na linii gmina i jednostki gminne oraz mieszkańcy, którzy chcą zazielenić swój kawałek miasta, żeby to przebywało jeszcze sprawniej. Ważny jest też aspekt taki edukacyjny, bo trzeba podkreślić, że Bieruń jest gminą górniczą, gminą, która jeszcze do niedawna opierała się wyłącznie na kopalni jako na głównym zakładzie pracy. Gminą poprzemysłową, chociaż ze znacznym udziałem też terenów rolniczych. No jednak coraz bardziej w świadomości mieszkańców istnieje ten fakt, że kopalnia za kilkanaście lat zakończy wydobycie, zakończy działalność. Zwiększa się świadomość ekologiczna, zwiększa się takie nastawienie zielone, nastawienie na przyrodę. Zielony budżet jest przykładem tego, że ludzie widzą w swoim otoczeniu potrzebę organizowania zielonych terenów przyjemnych do przebywania, przyjemnych dla oka, przyjemnych na wypoczynku. I z takich projektów, które jeszcze warto by było wspomnieć, oprócz tego zielonego witacza, który udało się zrealizować, będziemy w tym roku wybrany w poprzedniej edycji realizować tak zwany zielony ekran przy bardzo ruchliwej drodze wojewódzkiej, położonej zresztą, osiedle mieszkalne położone zresztą tuż przy kopalni węgla kamiennego. Jeden z mieszkańców złożył projekt na taką zieloną barierę, to znaczy wzdłuż drogi będą nasadzane rośliny zimozielone, które po pierwsze mają wytłumić hałas, po drugie pochłonąć część zanieczyszczeń. No i to najlepiej pokazuje, że od tego przemysłu, od tego wielkomiejskiego zgiełku i ruchu jest potrzeba, żeby się wyciszać, odgradzać właśnie zielenią. Oprócz tego zielonego budżetu oczywiście realizujemy dużo innych projektów. Inwestujemy w ścieżki rowerowe, w centra przesiadkowe, w ekologiczny transport, w wymianę pieców na ekologiczne, bo mamy oczywiście, jak wiele gmin na Górnym Śląsku, ogromny problem z zanieczyszczeniem powietrza i tych pieców węglowych jednak opalanych węglem mamy tutaj wciąż dużo, chociaż z roku na rok na szczęście ich ubywa, dzięki oczywiście temu, że uczestniczy gmina w rozmaitych programach, pozyskuje dofinansowanie i to jest takie drugie pole, na którym bardzo walczymy i poprzez media społecznościowe i stronę internetową i poprzez też takie dosyć innowacyjne metody, jak tak zwane zielone kontrole, o których też powiem parę słów. Walczymy tutaj, żeby ta świadomość mieszkańców się zmieniła, żeby ten węgiel, do którego tu jest wielopokoleniowe przywiązanie, jednak odszedł do lamusa, a ludzie wymienili swoje urządzenia, którymi ogrzewają domy, na zasilane innymi rodzajami paliw, czy też nawet na odnawialne źródła energii. 3 słowa na koniec powiem o tych zielonych kontrolach. To taka modyfikacja, którą wprowadziliśmy, jeżeli chodzi o obowiązkowe kontrole, jakie no, Straż Miejska przeprowadza w domach, kontrole palenisk domowych. Kontroluje, czy ludzie nie używają niedozwolonych paliw o niskiej jakości, czy też przestarzałych urządzeń. My wprowadziliśmy coś takiego, że do tych zielonych kontroli dołączają się urzędnicy, którzy razem z informacją, że na przykład piec nie spełnia jakichś tam wymogów, no to mieszkaniec zamiast dostać mandat, no to dostaje cały pakiet informacji, z czego może skorzystać, gdzie się może zwrócić, o jakie dofinansowanie może się ubiegać, żeby ten piec wymienić. Więc dostaje nie kij, lecz marchewkę, dużą porcję wiedzy i wszelką pomoc tutaj ze strony gminy, jak pozbyć się tego kopciucha. jesteśmy w stanie mu we wszystkim pomóc. Oczywiście nakładanie mandatów zostawiamy sobie tylko dla tych mieszkańców najbardziej opornych, którzy mimo wielokrotnych wizyt, rozmów i edukacji dalej naruszają te zapisy uchwały antysmogowej i używają przestarzałych urządzeń czy niedozwolonych paliw, ale ilość tych kontroli była bardzo duża. Można powiedzieć, że właściwie wszystkie gospodarstwa w mieście zostały odwiedzone w ten sposób. No i również efekty były znakomite. Tych sytuacji ostatecznych, w których trzeba było wystawić mandat, jest bardzo niewiele, a wniosków do różnych programów o dofinansowanie do wymiany pieców mamy bardzo dużo. To też taki element komunikacji z mieszkańcami, który wprowadziliśmy tak trochę eksperymentalnie i sprawdził się bardzo dobrze. Myślę, że wyczerpałam czas.
Okay, thank you so much, Sylvia. I think it's an excellent story about how once a city that was known for mining has now turned into a very citizen-friendly green city that does lots of innovative things in order to involve our citizens, both in green education, also in making decisions. For example, you mentioned green participatory budgeting, or you mentioned those green inspections with cooperation from citizens to replace their boilers. I think these are fantastic examples. So thank you so much for sharing them with us. And right now, let's go to our last municipality, who is going to present its best practice story. It's again in Poland, Opojno municipality. Adriana Bednarczyk is going to speak about Bednarczyk. Sorry, I mispronounced your surname. Is going to speak about rainwater management program that was not just created, but created in a participatory manner. So, Adriana, the floor is yours.
Witam, dzień dobry wszystkim. Ja bym chciała opowiedzieć o ostatnich zmianach, które zachodzą u nas w mieście Opoczno, ponieważ miasto Opoczno przeprowadziło ostatnio kilkanaście szeregów konsultacji społecznych oraz quizów dla naszych mieszkańców, ponieważ opracowywaliśmy kilkanaście dokumentów, które mogą nam pozwolić, żeby nasze Opoczno stało się zieloną przystanią, taką ekologiczną, nowoczesną, miastem, w którym chcą wszyscy zostawać i mieszkać. Opowiem o właśnie tutaj koncepcji zintegrowanego zagospodarowania wód opadowych, roztopowych oraz zapobieganiu powodziom, podtopieniom i suszy. Dokument ten został opracowany zgodnie z zasadami planowania strategicznego w formule partycypacyjno-eksperckiej, której główną cechą jest oczywiście ścisła współpraca między ekspertami a różnymi grupami interesariuszy. W ramach opracowywania tego dokumentu przeprowadziliśmy konsultacje takie dwuetapowe, które najpierw odbywały się online i w ramach tych badań online przeprowadziliśmy ankietę, która nam wskazała obszary problemowe w zakresie objętym tą koncepcją. Następnie przeprowadziliśmy quiz, który upowszechnił wśród mieszkańców Opoczna ideę zagospodarowania wód opadowych, sposobów zapobiegania negatywnym skutkom suszy i powodzi poprzez właśnie rozwój niebiesko-zielonej infrastruktury oraz zaznajomienie z dobrymi praktykami. Następnie przeprowadziliśmy jeszcze sondę, poprzez którą rozpoznaliśmy gotowość mieszkańców do udziału w pracach koncepcyjnych, jak również rzeczywistego udziału we wdrażaniu koncepcji na terenie Opoczna oraz na terenach prywatnych. Kolejnym krokiem było już spotkanie konsultacyjne, które przeprowadziliśmy z mieszkańcami na żywo, nie w formule online, na których rozmawialiśmy o miejscach, które są najbardziej problemowe w naszym mieście. Wytypowaliśmy kilka z nich i teraz już po zakończonych pracach nad koncepcją będziemy wdrażać prace projektowe oraz wdrożeniowe właśnie błękitno-zielonej infrastruktury. Pierwszym takim etapem będzie BZI na terenie szkoły podstawowej w naszym mieście. Będzie to utworzenie ogrodu deszczowego, tak aby dzieci również mogły czerpać te dobre nawyki właśnie ze swojego podwórka szkolnego. No i to chyba wszystko z naszej strony będzie. Myślę, że wyczerpałam temat. Dziękuję.
Oh, thank you so much, Adriana. Just a short question from me. Was it a typical way how your municipality develops new policy, strategic plans, or was it something that was created especially for rainwater management program? So was it something very new, or it's a way how Opočno municipality typically works?
Jest to raczej typowe podejście, aczkolwiek młode. Na pewno przez ostatnie 2-3 lata są one już wdrażane właśnie w taki sposób, że docieramy do naszych mieszkańców poprzez nasze strony internetowe, media społecznościowe i najpierw badamy to wszystko online i dopiero w trakcie tych prac dalszych już spotykamy się z mieszkańcami na żywo i rozmawiamy już na jakiejś takiej, już na jakimś etapie pracy nad tą koncepcją bądź innym dokumentem.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Adriana. Now we have heard 6 stories about 6 different municipalities in Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia on how they are engaging citizens relating to different issues, but mostly focusing on an environment and also on climate. But right now, let's hear a story about one specific project that was quite experimental in nature, and in which 12 different municipalities from the same countries participated. 6 of those were the same as you've just heard, presenting their best practices, and there were 6 other municipalities who would also have had best practice stories. Unfortunately, we were too short of time today in order to allow everyone to tell their experience. But right now, Donara Baroyan, who is a representative of this Lithuania-based think tank called the Politics, will share the lessons learned from this project involving 12 different municipalities, and that was focused on civic participation, civic consultation on environmental issues in those 12 municipalities. So Donara, you have around 12 minutes to do it, so the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Ilata, for the very kind introduction, and thank you all for the sharing of these incredible stories from the different municipalities across the 3 countries that we were working with. So the goal of the project that was funded by the Council of the Baltic Sea States was to help municipalities engage citizens in policymaking on environmental issues. We started this project 9 months ago, and we are now coming to this bittersweet culmination where the 3 organizations, Providus, Institute of Public Affairs, and Politics, which is the startup that I'm representing, came together to implement. And I think I speak for all of us within the implementing organizations when I say that I will really miss our Tuesday calls that we had every week to discuss the implementation of this project. Other than the wonderful organizers of this project, we also brought together 12 municipalities, 4 from each country, from Lithuania, Latvia, and Poland. I'm really proud that we had this incredible diversity in the municipalities we worked with, and that we had both capital cities and really small municipalities. And I feel like it really enriched the project, and having municipalities bring these unique experiences to the way we've implemented this project has certainly made it better. So over the course of 9 months, we have implemented a total of 55 public consultations. So initially, we planned for 48 public consultations where each municipality would publish 4, but we ended up with 55 because a lot of the partner municipalities wanted to ask more questions, which is such a positive insight. And we've calculated that over the course of the 9 months, we were publishing an average 6.8 public consultations every month. Here we must commend the Latvian municipalities who published the most number of public consultations, 23, and Lithuania and Poland averaged at 16. In total, we had more than 4,000 unique and registered citizen votes. We had an even larger number of unregistered votes, and I'll discuss the challenges that we had with the registration later on as I cover some of the challenges that we faced when implementing this project. The public consultation questions were highly diverse, and we're really proud that they were really touching upon the lives of citizens and were very relevant to the daily life of citizens in those municipalities. So the topics that these public consultations covered included public transportation and infrastructure development. We've asked questions about communication with citizens and how they want to receive communication on topics of environment and climate change. There were questions around city and municipal planning. We had questions about project evaluation and impact assessment on citizens' lives. We also received questions which were asking citizens on what can municipality do to encourage these positive behaviors that would facilitate the mitigation of climate change. And of course, we had some questions around green budgeting as well. In terms of the successes of the project, there were many. First of all, it was a very unique project. First of all, bringing these 3 different countries together, bringing the municipalities that wouldn't normally interact into one project, and of course, bringing together these different organizations. I think it was a very unique experience having these 2 think tanks on the Latvian side, Providus, and on the Polish side, ISP, working with the startups such as ourselves in developing and delivering this project. What we are also very proud of is that the questions that municipalities were asking were directly affecting the lives of citizens. I think very often when we speak about climate change or environmental policy development, the language that we use can be quite high level and doesn't necessarily resonate with the daily lives of citizens, but all the municipalities that participate in this project had this wonderful ability to really connect the topics of environmental policy and climate change to the daily lives of citizens, and we're so happy with that. We also noticed that, public consultation is really a process. It's an action. It's not something that you do once. It's something that, adds more and more value as you develop it into an iterative process and integrate it into your everyday communication. We saw this very clearly with municipalities who had a long tradition of public consultations, being able to drive a lot of engagement from the citizenry. And lastly, we saw the benefits in creating direct communication channels that reach citizens. Already today, we've heard about municipalities having newsletters, having apps, having dedicated websites, and I would really like to commend that. And I think as a project team, we would like to commend that as well, because that is something that's really powerful in bringing citizens into the process, because you can't always rely on social media and the changing algorithms of Twitter or Facebook or Instagram that are hard to predict. And it's always good to control the communication channels that you use to reach the citizens yourself. Now, going into more detail, here are some of the most popular questions that received the most citizen engagement from the project. The most popular question was from Vilnius municipality in Lithuania, who were asking about limiting car traffic in the Old Town. We saw a lot of engagement, not only in terms of the voting, but also in the comments that were submitted alongside citizens' responses. And it was great to see that high level of engagement. In Latvia, the most popular question was around municipal communication on environmental and climate issues. And again, here we see that people are really interested in questions that really do address the daily lives and the way that they are engaging with their local municipality. And the most question from Poland was a question from the Uzrad Miasta municipality, who were asking about what were some of the challenges that citizens faced in the center of the city. In terms of the process of public consultation, we saw that municipalities in Lithuania where politics has already been active for more than 3 years, had higher engagement from citizens than municipalities in Latvia and Poland, which for us were very new markets, and we didn't have as much experience engaging with citizens. And I think this really speaks to the need in developing these processes over time and building those audiences over time, because it's a relationship really between the citizen and the municipality. And I think it's proven quite important to build it over time, and that's why we would very much like to encourage all municipalities that participated in this project to keep up with the mission of citizen engagement and continue integrating that feedback loops with citizens into not only their communication but also their work. I think the size of municipality proved to be an important factor as well. We saw that bigger municipalities such as Vilnius and Šiauliai in Lithuania received more responses than smaller municipalities, and that is to be expected because only a fairly small percentage of the total residents that reside in municipalities will participate in those public consultations. So when developing and implementing the public consultations, it's important to set expectations that are in line with the size of the municipality. We also found that newsletters were significantly a better communications tool than Facebook advertising. So as a startup ourselves, we have built up a newsletter of around 15,000 citizens across Lithuania. And so using the newsletter to drive audience engagement was a lot more effective than using Facebook ads alone, because you are more in charge of the audience that you are reaching. We know that these people have previously engaged with public consultations and were therefore more likely to engage in public consultations that were prepared for this project. And one thing that we would, I think, urge all municipalities to consider is what direct communication channels you have with your own citizens, because social media algorithms change very often. And as you'll see in my slides shortly, when it comes to external links especially, they are trying to really discourage the traffic moving away from Facebook to different websites. And so driving that traffic, I think, from social media to municipal websites or other platforms is proving more and more difficult. Hence, the need to develop direct communication channels. And I think here, newsletters, apps, and other and websites are a powerful way of doing that. Now, in terms of the challenges, we've identified three, but the one that I would like to highlight the most was the challenge around disinformation surrounding climate change and environmental issues. We also had some issues with Facebook advertising and citizens not being very eager to log in to use a public consultation platform. But let's start with disinformation. So in preparation for this presentation, I reviewed a lot of the posts that we've published promoting the public consultations as well as this event. And I noticed that we were, of course, engaging in moderation, but that there were a lot of comments that included some key disinformation narratives around climate change and the environment. We saw mentions of chemtrails. We saw mentions of globalist. Of the globalist agenda, and it really speaks to the fact that disinformation is affecting the perception of citizens when it comes to climate change. I think one of the main reasons why we're saying this is because through advertising that we were buying on Facebook and social media platforms, we were able to reach audiences that wouldn't normally engage with these topics. And so the comments that we saw was a very raw reaction from them based on the information diet that they are most likely consuming. And so this is something that we want to draw everyone's attention to, who is working on this topic, not just municipalities, but also NGOs and activist communities who I'm sure are dealing with this phenomenon all the time. Our approach was to try and use climate change alongside environmental improvement to kind of depolarize the conversation a little bit, because environmental improvement isn't, as a term as polarizing as climate change could be. And we also engaged in comment moderation. But I think from municipalities and NGO point of view, it's really important to understand that this is affecting the conversations, and that it's really important to inject as much of this quality information that almost pre-bunks it or debunks it as this conversation takes hold in and across social media. Another thing that we wanted to highlight that I've already alluded to was the issues that some of the challenges we had with Facebook advertising. So Facebook, is highly skeptical of content that is trying to take traffic away from Facebook onto other websites. So when running ads on Facebook, a lot of the users that wanted to click on the politics link to the public consultation would get this almost like a warning saying that you are leaving Facebook, and discouraging them from doing that. And this is something that's certainly limited the reach of and the effectiveness of ads. We nevertheless still received a lot of signups, but I think issues like that really point to the importance of having those direct communication channels, so you are not as reliant on social media. To mitigate this, our approach was collecting feedback from social media comments. We saw that citizens, the disinformation was definitely there, but it wasn't the majority of the conversation that we saw in the comments. So a lot of citizens actually wrote very detailed comments explaining what their opinion was, what the local problems in the community were. And so we tried to amalgamate that and produce this analysis to municipalities that were running these public consultations. We also tried to make it as clear, that there was a need to go to this external website just to kind of prevent people from being surprised by this notification. And I think it's also important to engage in trust building over time. So Politics' brand is of course much stronger in Lithuania, but in Poland or Latvia it wasn't as popular, and so there was definitely a need in bringing that brand awareness in there to ensure that this was seen as a credible place where they can express their opinion. Another issue that we've faced that I think warrants a really interesting discussion is the significant drop-off rate in the login page. So all our public consultations require users to log in and share some demographic data so we can make sure that the representativity was there and prevent bad actors from spamming the public consultations. And I think there is a broader discussion to be had around the integrity of public consultations versus high rates of participation, because with some polls, we saw the drop-off rates of 60 or even 70% of citizens, which certainly affected the overall popularity of public consultations. Our approach was to make it as clear as possible why we're collecting this data. So we included a disclaimer saying that participant registration helps ensure representativeness and that the data is stored by us in accordance with GDPR, as well as linking to our privacy policy. And that definitely helped a little bit, but that's something that I guess when you are conducting public consultations, you need to be mindful of, whether you prioritize security or popularity. In terms of what's next, we would like to encourage all municipalities that participated to keep up the spirit of public consultations and continue engaging citizens. We see that it is the most powerful when it becomes a habitual process and citizens are, they feel that their opinion is being asked on a regular basis, as opposed to in these like project-based events that will last for a year or two, but will not stay there forever. We also would like to encourage municipalities, but also NGOs working on these topics to create their own communication channels so they're able to build up their audience outside of social media and not relying on social media alone. We also would encourage organizations working in the space to integrate public consultations into their communication. And here you don't really have to use politics. You can use social media polling, you can use Google Forms and various interactivities across newsletter platforms to make that opinion collection a very standard practice. I think offline activities, and there were such great examples from the Polish municipalities, are also so important in building that trust and bringing citizens together, because a lot of these conversations are happening online. Very little is actually happening offline, and I think all of our experience has been that offline conversations usually are a lot less, maybe polarizing or polarized as they tend to be online. And citizen assemblies, citizen town halls are a great way of bringing that to life. And then lastly, I think it's really important to work with the entire community of interest to address disinformation and polarization around these issues. And we'll be very keen to hear your thoughts, maybe in the comments, as we're so short on time, in what your best practice has been in addressing this. But I'll conclude here. I'm sorry I've taken more time as well, but I feel like it was an important presentation to share with all of you.
Thank you. It was really an important presentation to share with everyone. I think that not only municipalities who were involved in this project, but also the other municipalities who joined this the seminar and who are watching online, as well as environmental activists, will find the lessons learned from this project very useful in their work as well. But with that, I think we can conclude the public part of this event. Those municipalities who were directly involved in this project are still invited to stay for a private session in breakout rooms to discuss more closely the lessons learned part. But for the rest of you, I'm saying to you goodbye. The recording of this event is going to be shared on our organization's website. We will try to collect all the presentations as well. And I think I cannot really promise, but I think that we will manage to also make this lessons learned part publicly available, so that even those people who have not watched the seminar will have some advice based on this project on how to proceed when you wish to engage citizens in public consultations relating to climate and environment. So thank you very much, all of you, and also in the name of everyone, I would also to say thank you to our wonderful interpreters. I've checked several channels. It seemed to be working perfectly. So thanks a lot, and see you hopefully in some next seminar. But the rest of municipalities who were partners of this project, please don't go away. So with that, we can conclude the live stream.